I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
Us when to get the excitement around here. Okay. Uh, ah, Timmy asked me, you know, can I come on here and post? I said, whatever. It's just staying out of the same shit. I want to go back and see if I'm going to do any posting on here tonight. Probably going to go down to the cemetery. She's going to light some candles and a lot of festivities going on down there tonight. A lot of stands are set up with food and different things. And what the hell? What the hell? Sorry to do a very early show, but I'll be later. Well, I'll do an upload later of All Souls here in the famous Santa Fe area, Bantayan Island. I wasn't going to go down there, but I decided, oh, what the hell? Just go down there and just have some fun and just get the hell out, There's nothing religious about my goings on there, but I do get involved in her interests too. And I'll even light a candle for my brother, my mother, whose birthday actually is today, officially, my dad, people like that. Shh, just in case. It's one of those just in case situations, so. I told you I got an open mind about things, I really do. Sorry I ain't got any viewers at this hour. I guess you have to watch this later. I should have just made a recording. But I will go down to the All Souls situation going on. For people in this township, it's always an exciting thing. I will say I'm sure it probably brought a few visitors in, but I don't see a hell of a lot of tourists in town. God, one guy, we went in the local store. Now, if you met Big E, he's a tall guy. There was a guy with dreads, and this guy just stood out. He was black, and I did ask him. He's from South Africa. He had some woman with him, and I don't even know if she was a local. I don't even know. This guy was tall. I mean, really tall. Short people have no reason to live. Well, that's not really true, but in a way I wouldn't want to be that tall anyway, because it's hard to buy clothing. You'll probably have more problems with your joints in the future. So there's a trade-off on height. Whatever I am, I'm happy with the height I am. I'm like a tits hair 5'7". It works for me. I can get clothing that fits, I'm not worried about all that shit, It is what it is. You're not going to change your height, I may even shrink more as I get older. I don't know. I'm not the straightest spine in the world, having a little bit of scoliosis, so it goes to show you. Oh, we got one listener in here anyway. Hey, you made it. I got some hearts coming my way. Who's that, Timmy boy? Who's that giving me the hearts on here? Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, update. You don't want to hear about the kittens, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Apparently the mother is taking care of at least one of them. I don't know about the other, but she did kind of take him into the bush. And I seen she is with it. I'm glad about that, because I feel guilty about that stuff. I don't like to abandon cats, let them die, or dogs, stuff like that, Okay, enough of that about the cats and dogs. I mean, that's always going to be an issue over here. So it's something that we're always going to be confronting. So let's see what else is going down in Funky Town. We're not here to talk about any legal shit. No, we're not going to talk about Barry. None of that crap on here. I get a lot of amusement though from a few shows that I hear on here. I must admit, I do get some amusement. I'm more in awe, I'm amazed, and I just don't understand why people put themselves through situations that they know will lead to big trouble. And I don't have to mention the people on here, as you probably know who I'm talking about. I only wish for one thing. There's two things, really. There's so much AI out there, you don't even know what to believe anymore. And people are getting so good at this. The other thing besides AI that's irritating, is that, you know, you want to listen to somebody who is representing the Philippines as a YouTuber and is talking about such, uh, and at least tells the truth. You know, like not making up a story just to fill in the, shall I call it, the airtime and all that. And it's Joff, the latest on Discord. Is that a plan for a bigger, grander Rice Gate is in the works? I don't give a fuck, you know. Yeah, people know us around here. They know we wouldn't do anything crazy around here, so I don't worry about that shit. I thought it was a low blow to the Filipinos when they did that crap last time, because they weren't me that they were hurting. They were hurting the people that came a long way to get this rice and stuff. That's all. I'm not being careful about anything. My life goes on as it is every single day. If I had to worry about every little thing, I wouldn't even be functioning. So I'm functioning very well, thank you very much. I don't care what's going on. Discord, I don't go to Discord. I don't plan to. I'm not getting involved with all that shit. I'm just putting on shows with topics and pretty much whatever I want to talk about. There you go. Bastos cult. It was $150. Welcome back, champ. What's up? What's up? Never heard of you. Bastos cult. Jeff says, well, Jeff, I hate that word. Jeff. I always have a problem with that. That's what I comment on there. It's not cool to do that to Filipinos on the holidays or anytime. Not anytime. It's really not. I don't know what they got against me anyway, really. I did them the biggest favor in the world. I just don't get appreciation for certain things, I guess. What can I say? Sometimes you just not appreciate. One thing I have learned is you got to take things as they come. And if you got friends or family members or anything like that that you're not really in tune with, and they're not really in your life, kind of call it estranged and all that. There's some things you can change, and some things you can't. Jeff says, I hear you. Americans usually say, G off. Yes, Jeff, I know. It's irritating. I'm sorry. My parents picked it, so I have no choice. Like Joffrey is Jeffrey. I know. I don't know. I guess that's a pet peeve of mine. It always has been. You know, say it what it is. I guess that's an English version of the name Jeff. Just like Stephen. They say Stephen. Stephen. What the fuck? Say it what it is, you know. Yeah. Bastos. The weirdo old time in Malaysia is obsessed with you. Oh, that SD guy, whatever his name is, SD, the one that's always arguing with sweet skates. Yeah, he's an interesting character, isn't he? Yeah, he's obsessed with a lot of people. The Don C will be coming on pretty soon, I'm sure. He realizes I'm sort of back online a bit. I'm sure of that, reasonably sure. And we should have a whole lot more people in there. I realized very early. Can't do live, but I'm going to do an upload tonight. I am probably going to, I don't know, I'll probably go down there to the All Souls event that's going on off the highway here. You know, Gilda's got to light a few candles for me and my loved ones that passed away, all that stuff. Getting back to family type stuff, you know, you guys got to understand that no matter what goes on in your life still goes on. And just because maybe you don't get along with another family member, don't reflect it on yourself. You know, these days, I think you all know by now that people have a lot of, I don't know, psychosis. I think the world has become very stressful for people, and I think they're not coping very well financially and every other way. And maybe since they got the famous vaccination, maybe it's changed them a bit too. I don't know. People are dying left and right. Can we relate it to the jab? I don't know. It's hard to say, you know. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, nothing really surprises me anymore. Nothing ever will, you know. Personally, I don't care what goes on in the personal life of any of these YouTubers anymore. I really don't. They have to find out for themselves. reflect more upon themselves than what they do to people. Even they just think it's for entertainment on YouTube. You know, it can take a personal toll on these people, if not physical, with some of them. I mean, I hear all these stories. There are people getting killed on social media. They don't like your face, they don't like your voice, they don't like something about you. Because there are people out there that are just like that. It's not a joke, you know. Yeah. Favorite type of pig? The koshers, you know, nice and crispy, really good for the hamburgers. Not the dill. What is that? Yeah. There's one pickle that's kind of bitter I don't like. I usually buy what's that name brand of its kosher pickles? Haven't bought them in a little while. I think the world takes out their own anxieties on life. I think this is just a place where they get to vent because maybe nobody else wants to listen to them. That's what I think it is. You know, and of course they're brave because they're behind their computer or their phone. That's always going to go on. Social media will always be around. It's not disappearing for any reason whatsoever. Social media is not going to disappear anytime soon. So you have your own choice whether you want to vlog or not. I thought many more times after I've been off for a while, not a long time, but long enough for me and long enough for my viewers because they figured Frank could never be off YouTube that long, and I proved them wrong. So I was off 3-4 months. I don't know. As I said, I didn't count. I didn't care. Did I listen to videos? Yeah, I did. I kept abreast of a lot of different things that were going on, and I'm like shaking my head all the time. What? Like Jim walking out of his underwear with his long stick on the camera at 3 o'clock in the morning in Cambodia. All the crazy stuff that goes on here. I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. If you had to pass judgment, believe me, there are a lot of people out there you could be scratching your head about. Pass judgment on them. I don't do anything that weird in my life, and you know, my life is pretty dull. There's nothing exciting about my life at all. I'm not traveling places. I'm not, you know, just an idyllic life. I, you know, watch TV, do chores around the house. I'm more involved. A little bit more exercise, work around the yard occasionally. I do whatever I got to do, take care of dogs. I'm kept busy going on chores and all that. You know, expect me to do acrobatics. I am 71, so I mean, what do you want? You know, what can I tell you, man? I wish I was more, you know, I'm pretty energetic, but I wish I was a lot more. I walk fast, that's a good sign right there. Oh, by the way, this is totally unrelated to anything. I'm losing you guys, I'm losing you. Okay, if you have a dog, they carry a very dangerous bacteria in them now. I want to tell you something that happened to a woman about a year ago and passed a good word. Seriously. She went on vacation with her husband, came back, and she had her dogs waiting for her home. Now, while she was on vacation, she used her card, you know, lock card for her hotel room, and she wanted to get herself a little cut. Nothing to worry about. She wasn't worried about it. But when she went home, dogs were happy to see her and probably licked her wound. Well, she got some form of sepsis, but it's rare to happen, but it does happen. It does happen. She wound up losing half of the length of her arms and both her legs. This traveled fast through her blood system. She had no idea what was going on. I mean, she had like a little abrasion or cut from her card. That's all she had. And holy shit. She comes home, greets her dogs. So I knew a guy in Washington State, Bill. Hi, Bill. Bill used to have these Boston Terriers. And they were really protective. You go there, you know. And he would let these, I couldn't stand looking at it. I say, Bill, come on. He let these dogs lick him right on the lips.
It's already cooked. If you want to eat, just eat.
I don't know what I'm eating.
Hey, cook spaghetti.
Oh, yeah, I could have that. I got these tortilla shells I've been looking for a long time. They finally came in. Anyway, don't let the dogs lick you on the lip. You can lick your skin, but as long as you don't have an open wound or abrasion or something. But Bill used to let these dogs lick him for like a minute or 2 minutes at a time. They'd be in a car with him. Oh man, I've heard this once before. So yes, your dog does have a dangerous bacteria develop, but usually that doesn't do nothing. They can lick you, that's fine. Don't make a habit of it, you know. To get your attention, my dog would come up to me and lick me. Something. That's it. Not gonna lick my open wound. Don't let your dog do that, okay? I'm probably telling you something that can save your life, because it's rare to happen, but it does actually happen. Ooh, okay. All saints, all souls, people dressing up like the dead, honoring the dead. They have this, other countries, is it India? Some other countries, where they actually exhume the bodies of their dead ones, and they're somewhat mummified or something, and they clean the body. It's part of their culture and religion. They cleanse the dead body. I'm thinking, for what? They're dead. They don't care about cleanliness, but you know, every culture or religion has their own thing. I personally don't see the purpose of that at all. Let the dead rest, you know. Rest in peace if there's such thing after death. I really hope that there is something after death. It just seems so useless to live your life and then have to croak. But, you know, it is what it is. We can't stop. The other thing I was going to say is there a secret to long life? A lot of people talking about this. This is a multi-topical thing that I normally do on here if you're just tuning in. You know what? It is true about the sugar. That's almost number one. It is true. It's not really true about the cholesterol, because you need it for your brain. It's made of a lot of cholesterol. And it actually helps patch your damaged arteries. A lot more talks going on as the science progresses, but you're going to hear a lot of different. That doesn't mean you should overload yourself with cholesterol, okay? That's not what I said. But cholesterol actually has a role, just so you know. Okay, the information's free. You can throw it out the window. Do whatever you want. It's free. My channel is not monetized. I don't care. But nothing will ever stop me from giving you guys some interesting facts that I've learned about this or about that. Okay, so if you agree with me, or you could find, kind of put this in your repertoire in life, then do so, okay? Well, I'm not going to go heavy into health issues on here. I'm more concerned about my own maintenance of my own health above anybody, especially above trolls, I can tell you that much. I'm doing pretty good, I must say, but life's funny, life's strange. Anything could happen at any moment. You could be feeling totally fine, and then zap, you're gone. That's just, and yes, I realize where I live. I realize I'm not near a good hospital. That's a bummer. No reference to the guy in jail, but it's a bummer. What do we got? We got some spaghetti. Got some spaghetti.
I get some things.
We got some spaghetti here. And it's not the sweet sauce. No, it's not. Basic spaghetti. Don't expect anything phenomenal, really Italian, but you know, don't even go there. You're not going to see that here. All right, everybody disappeared on me, so I guess it's a good ending. Well, I ate my spaghetti. And what else can I talk about here? Get it all in while I can. It seems to me that people are losing their purpose of coming on YouTube, and they're finding themselves tongue-tied as to what the hell to talk about. And sometimes I do find that problem with me, but I always get through it because I always have something to talk about. I like to make it worthwhile, however, and not, you know, come up with some bullshit and make up something just to have something to say. As I said, I'm not monetized. I don't give a shit about the money. I really don't. I come on because, well, it's venting, like we all do. Let's face it, it's what it is. It's venting to other farmers. It's whether they agree with you, like you or not, that's all to be seen. But you're pretty familiar with what happens on YouTube. They're going to like you or they don't. Whatever. Timmy decided to send me a comment earlier, but he's not on. Hold on. Let me take a... Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay. Only thing I'm missing is some ricotta, some church mass, and I'll turn on fire if I enter the hallowed grounds like that. So probably not for me. Okay, so tonight I'm just kicked back. I'm trying to find a damn movie to watch on here. It's always very difficult. Met another foreigner today, but I know him personally though, and his wife. So he stays home a lot, watches TV. He has a lot of back problems, as a lot of these guys do. I have a few myself, but not as bad as him, where he required operations and all that stuff. And basically, he's he's 75. I've known him for many years, and he's perfectly comfortable just staying home. His wife works in a produce stand. It's not that they don't have money. They own about 3 lots out here that are worth quite a bit of money. So it's not that these people don't have anything, they're broke. They just don't want to sell it because he figures if something happens to him, they got these 3 lots that she could fall back on, which is, it's a good idea. And it's the same thing really about why I got this house here. It's no mansion, but it's a nice house. It was an investment, but not really an investment made for me. Okay. And I already knew this when I bought the house. It wasn't like, gee, man, I'm going to make some money in this house. We'll keep it for a while and we'll sell it. No, it wasn't like that. It was for her. Don't matter whether we're not married or not or nothing. I love her to death and vice versa. And I want to see that she has a future, and she always has the house to go back on or just keep it in her family for her kids and their future, which is the plan anyway. So whatever she wants to do with the house, whether I passed on or whatever, that's for her to do. But while I'm living here, it is half my house, or going to say, let's call it 60-40. And if I really wanted to sell the house, she probably would, maybe a little reluctantly. But if I really wanted to sell it and really push the issue, she'd probably agree with it. But that's not my plans, and it's really not in her plans to do so. Now, the other thing I was going to segue into, and I know I got no viewers here, timing is all this. It's also the holiday evening here, too. I fully realize that. That's okay. No big problem. The other thing was I wanted to talk about the commitment when you are getting into a relationship with someone that's considerably younger than yourself, and it's on at least the female side, the responsibility that she really took, being with somebody who's older, and in some cases incredibly older, and there's a certain responsibility that goes with that. And of course, this has been talked about before, but not in such detail, where it is a, basically you signed a contract in a way. You signed up for this, as I jokingly would tell my girlfriend, say, you know what, well, you signed up for this. I don't know how many years I'm going to have. I might have quite a few. But keep in mind that anything could help come up with your health at any given time, no matter how healthy you seemingly are right now. I really don't want, it's not my endeavor to have to be catered on by her. I didn't get into a relationship, particularly as a caretaker. We're both each other's caretakers. But when you do get older and things slow down or things might develop, negative health issues and so forth, by golly, she will become your caretaker, and just be grateful you have that. Okay, so, hey, Al, what's going on, man? Yeah, for how long, I don't know, Al. I'm just, we're testing the waters again. I was totally fine, not being on. I kept up what was going on pretty much on YouTube. It's not like I was totally off YouTube in that respect. No, but I had gotten rid of my Google account, the whole bit. I was pretty serious about it. So I'm just kind of feeling things out. That's all I'm really doing now. But, we're just not going to jump to the crap again and all that, Well, at least that's not my intention anyway, to do that. What have you been doing with your time? Traveling. Switzerland. God damn it, I was looking at some stuff on there. What a beautiful place. Gorgeous. Gorgeous place, I must say. But you gotta have money to live there. Apparently you have. Because because I can't see anybody living in that country doesn't have money. I don't actually think you have any slums out there, do you? I don't know. You haven't been to too many shows. You're heading to Germany and Italy soon. Well, maybe you could meet up with Big E. No, no, he's in Portugal now. He's been moving around quite a bit. Yeah, he was showing Germany, and I was pretty impressed with some of the areas he went to. Italy? Now I'm jealous. Italy. And what do you do this as part of your job or something? Are you still selling these sex products, or is that just a myth? Hell if I know. Is it just a myth? Oh, there are little lights hanging from the tree here, guys. My goodness, huh? You don't have a job, so you mind me asking, how do you survive? Didn't you have some property in the Philippines, a rice farm or something, or this or that? Or you just had rich parents or inheritance? What's the deal on that, man? Milan. Yeah, do so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing I wish I never went to Italy. That's my ancestry. And in fact, some of my relatives come from just the Milan area, north of Milan. Um, might even be Switzerland and Austria because of the light skin and blue eyes. And so I know a little bit of history as to where they, on my father's side, certainly, where it comes from. Yeah, I didn't think anybody would be on an All Souls night tonight, but I was basically going to go out and see the activities. I'm doing that tomorrow night because she's going to mass, and I don't, feel like going to mass. That's the last thing I want to do. Seriously. All right, you're keeping things going. Oh, how old are you anyway? Have you ever admitted to your age? How old are you? Can you at least say that much? I always wondered how old you were, really. You don't have to be that discreet to everybody on here. Age is just a number of us. Mid 40s? That's all you are? Is your mid 40s? Really? Yeah, I kind of thought maybe you were late 40s, early 50s or something. I don't know. But, where do you get your money, dude? Seriously. Family inheritance or what? Yeah, I envy you guys that are able to travel, and that's something I never really did much. It was more locally in the United States. Canada, obviously, everybody's been to Canada. You know, I've been to some foreign countries, but I was at the airport, but I was technically there. And there's a number of countries I've been at the airport. I could say I've been there. I didn't explore the towns, but you worked in finance in Switzerland. Well, that would make sense to me. If there's any truth to what you're saying, it's hard to believe you sometimes, but I wouldn't be surprised because Switzerland is, well, it's all about finance and money. Okay, well, maybe once you're being honest. Well, sounds like the good life. Have you ever been to, one last question for you. I don't want to drain your brain too much. Have you ever been to, oh gosh, what is that? Here, let me control this TV here so I don't have to hear this in the background. Not, oh shit. Give me a second here. I'm getting old. Oh, there he is. There's Timmy. Okay. You invested it in the Philippines and now live off my passive income. Well, it sounds like you're doing all right, man. Sounds like you're doing fine. I can say goody for you on there. Now, I'm not rich, never was. I'm getting by like any other expat, man. God forbid there's an emergency. I'd have to, after having that kidney stone thing, would have cost me for that alone. I said, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? God forbid something catastrophic. That was somewhat catastrophic, really. Oh, I have no insurance, Always go back to America. Hello, Sir Gregory. Welcome. Welcome. We're kind of making a comeback here a little bit. I'm also not rich. I wish I was. Well, how do you travel so much and do that? You got to have some money, Aloe. Now, it's nice to travel. I wish I've done it during my younger years, though. That's the whole thing. You get kind of lazy as you get older. I don't feel any different than when I was your age or something. I get a few backaches here and there, but otherwise my health has been, thank goodness, has been pretty good. Knock on, knock on some kind of wood. Uh, but you just never know. I just, like as far as the Philippines is concerned, that's one of the biggest complaints I do hear, which is true, is that it's such a menagerie to get around in the Philippines. It winds up being really costly. There's really hardly many good direct routes to anywhere out here. If you really want to travel, it's not like Europe. And Europe, you can go in Germany, you can take a train, it'll take you to France or Italy or whatever. You've got this good transit system out there that can take you from point A to point B. But you just don't have that in the Philippines. And a lot of people are very reluctant. And you kind of add the hot and humid weather to that, and it makes it hard for travel. And because I have a kind of a sort of shitty lower back, it gets kind of uncomfortable for me to travel. So it sounds like I'm making excuses and all that, Frank. You haven't been there, Frank. Well, I haven't been a lot. I have not been a lot of places in the Philippines, and that would be the truth. Okay, Gregory says, Frank, I seen your short with the crazy cool lighting. Well done. Yeah, I'm not much into AI and all that other shit. That's as far as I could ever do on that creative. I'm not creative on here. I don't do any editing, all that. I'm not on camera right now because I look like shit anyway. I was on camera earlier today. You didn't need to look at my ugly face. Yeah. As far as how long I'm going to be doing YouTube again, it's just a toss, a coin toss on that. I'll just get tired of it again, and things will get too aggressive again, and I'll just get off again or something. I thought I'd give it a spin again. Alice says you are right about that. The infrastructure is really bad, especially in the Visayas and Mindanao. But yeah, yeah. But let's see, but Visayas and Mindanao, but it's quite good up north. Yeah, it's hard to travel around where you're at. Yeah, it is. Um, yeah, I'm trying to reinvent myself a little bit more here. I'm letting people on that normally with trolls if they just behave on here. They're welcome. Timmy is kind of he can be aggressive in his own way. The crazy emails I got from this guy supporting Barry and all this stuff, and then turning turning the turning the chairs around on me on that. I don't know. I won't even get into that. I did, however, talk about somebody on YouTube today, a couple of people, only because I thought it was actually warranted to do so. I'm trying to understand people. After being on YouTube a long time, you'd think I'd understand people, but I really don't. The psychology on here is so radically different from one person to another, but seems to be a common denominator somewhere that they need to be heard and seen, and whether it's they're throwing out some bad words or doing some bad shit, they just kind of looking for the attention. I think everybody's guilty of that. I've had my moments in the sun, I call it out here. Oh, you emailed me a few days ago, but you did not email this now. Oh, okay. I had gotten also. I'm serious, man. I got rid of my email. I got rid of my email. I don't want to give it out, and I hardly get any emails now. And that was the whole point because I was getting all kinds of strange emails and sometimes threats and shit like that. You know how that works. Yeah. So nobody has my email out there. One person does, but I don't talk to him. Oh, that's what you thought. You got rid. Yeah, I got rid of it. You probably got a mailer daemon, whatever you call that shit, back on there. I don't know what a mailer demon is. I call it a mailer demon. Yeah. Gary says, oh yeah, Frank, I saw that tropical martini guy today. Wow, you were right. Mr. Know-It-All after 2 weeks. Yeah, he's got an intense personality. He's like quite impulsive and quite kind of ahead of himself. And he just kind of imposes himself on people like Jim is doing. He imposes himself on people in the street because he's trying to make such an impression because he left his whole world in America and everything else. And he had a couple of marriages. Doesn't really work out for him. I guess marriage is not an institution he wants to become a part of, or he was just contributing to the breakup of this wonderful institution called marriage. But he's kind of an oddball character, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. The Winter says you made a point in doing okay, and point in doing that. Nobody would have expected that. Another win for you. No, they didn't expect me. They always do 24 hours, 72 hours. I'll be back on again. But yeah, mailer demon, yeah, demon, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were quite surprised when I was off that long. So of course they had to spread rumors that I was dead, or I was living in Malaysia. Oh, I will tell you, Malaysia would have been a consideration. Bad thing about Malaysia, it has everything. It's wonderful. It really is. Foods, everything else there. Great place and get the best bang for your buck for somewhere to live. It's an incredible place. I did all my research just in case. But unfortunately, that wouldn't work for me because their visa system sucks. And you'd have to put a considerable amount of money in a bank. It's one of those situations, kind of like the SRV here. It's worse, I think. I don't know. You have to or own some expensive property or some shit like that. They don't have long-term visas. You'd have to be on like a retirement visa. It's too bad. It's really too bad because they're right. Places like Georgetown and places like Penang. Georgetown is near a part of Penang, whatever. Great towns to live in, great food, all that stuff. That would have been a choice of mine, but it's really not anymore. If I ever had to leave the country or by choice or otherwise, I probably would not. Let's see, I didn't read everything here. What did Timmy say? Oh, I find the whole situation and how things turned out extremely regrettable. I know you have led a respectful life, and I just want things to get back to some sort of normal for all concerned. Well, I don't know if that's even possible, man. I see you got 67 subs right now. I will try to promote your channel. Right on, Aloe. Appreciate that. So Gregory says, hey, Remy, tell Ballman to pay Frank and we can have some normal. He's not going to pay me. Aloe says, not the community, though. You deleted your channel because there was some sort of legal deal. No, there wasn't. No, that's not where I got rid of my channel. I just simply got tired of it, really. And I kind of run my mouth too much myself and I talk about too much personal shit. And I'm trying to get beyond all the crap that's going on. And, we're dealing with our own lives and our own endeavors and personal things in our lives, and putting it out there all the time only works against you, as we all found out. Anybody else who has a channel has done that too. Secretary says, I thought Malaysia was the big ego approved. Yeah, it is big ego approved. Also, you rock. Frank is also you raw. I don't know. Got to run, guy. Okay, thanks for stopping by, Aloe. Good to hear from you. I see you do shorts every now and then, but you've not been doing too much. Usually, sometimes you get really active. Popeye hasn't been doing any shows, but the holiday, and they're going to celebrate Bob. I guess Barry's, his incarceration for the third year. I guess on Christmas time or sometime on that. I don't even go to Popeye's channel. I don't go to the Frank replay channel. I don't go with any of that shit no more. Nah, I'm not giving them any ammunition. They can record me all they want on here. I'm not getting into any too deep into any politics about anything on here. No, it's not where I'm going with this. Okay, Aloe. Yeah, take care, man. Yeah, at least you opened up to me about a few things. I think I understand a little about how you're surviving and all that stuff. Sounds like you're doing well and you're in a pretty good position for your age group. And it's cool to travel. I even told Biggie himself he's kind of very adverse with me, but I complimented him on being able to travel, not just for the work to pay for it, but on his personal time. He's got so many air miles, all these wonderful places he gets to see, and everybody should get to go and see a little bit of the world that they were born in. You only live once, but not everybody can afford to be a globe trekker and do things like that. Oh yeah, Don C is mounting a comeback. No doubt about that, Sir Gregory. There's no question. Oh, I don't really care, man. I'm avoiding all this shit now. I'm just coming on doing random lives and uploads and all that. How often I'm doing it, whether it's once a day, twice a day. It's just same as usual. If I got something to talk about, I'll come on. I don't really want to deal with trying to schedule a show. That's what screwed me up on my laptop when I was trying to go live. It allowed me once or twice, and then there was some problem with the streaming software, and it would always have that box come out that says schedule, and I couldn't get the box off, and I couldn't do a live. I said, fuck it, I'm not dealing with this. I hardly use the laptop anyway. So, yeah. So I said, screw it. As I said, I was going to do the Old Souls tonight, but we're going to do that tomorrow night go out, light some candles for the dead relatives and all that stuff. And they got a bunch of setups over there, a bunch of vendors of all different types, and mesh with the people, And I do, and I do. And there's really not that many tourists around. It is true. I've been talking about that on some of my broadcasts. People who want to really come to the Philippines are having second thoughts. And it's horsing around a lot of alternatives in Southeast Asia if you still want to stay there. But they also tossed around a few alternatives from some other countries that were not in Southeast Asia. So I don't know. A lot of people put Cambodia down, but I probably think it's better there in Cambodia than it is in Thailand from all I've seen on there. I don't know where I'd go if I had to or if chosen or whatever. I don't know. Good to have you back, Frank. You're helping make sense of the nonsense. Well, I try, but Philippines is definitely a country in turmoil. It really, dude, it really is. No shitting. Yeah, they don't want to. They just don't care about the infrastructure. But I don't understand. Well, I do understand. There's a lot of corruption going on. They don't want to put the money into projects that need to be done, like helping the people. They don't want to do anything, housing, shit like that. They don't give a fuck. If you're on the street begging, hospitals will throw you out on the street. If you don't have the money, they'll probably throw me out on the street when the time ever comes. I'm not loaded with money. I never said I was. And people assume that this and that, this and that. We get by and all that. But I'm not loaded with money. I can't afford to have any serious hospitalization, to tell you the truth. We got a lot of money that goes out here, you got to understand here. We got 2 kids we're raising. They're in school. We got a lot of expenses. I'm going to tell you something. When I was living at the other place that I was renting out here, I was able to live on my Social Security and have money left over. Mm-mm. It's not gotten to that anymore. It goes to show you, and that's still raising 2 kids. Um, uh-uh. No, no. It's lucky that we have, I don't know, some small ventures that bring in a little bit of money that compensates for that, rather than going into my what I call my emergency money. That's not really a lot either. When I say emergency money, it's not really a lot of money. I'm not giving a figure out, but it's nothing to write mom home about if you had to write mom home about. My mom's dead, so I can't write her anyway. So, but no, I'm not rich at all. I'm just getting by like anybody else does out here, most of the expats. And it's going to get tougher and tougher as time goes by. And I think a lot of people are realizing. So they're thinking about all these alternatives. Oh, where can I go now? They may wind up in another country voluntarily or otherwise, and they find out that, oh God, that's starting to catch up with shit now. I thought Philippines was bad as far as inflation and everything else. And, they chose to do Thailand or something. They figured, well, Thailand, you can find some good deals out there on renting and all that stuff. And certainly better food, as I understand, a world difference in better food. And that's what I envy about some other places because let's face the fact, the food out here is absolute shit. I'll say it, it's absolute shit, So you got to get creative. And I get tired, the S&R scene over there. I'm paying so much money for shit that's going to kill me, really. Because I tell you, a lot of the good foods, and I say good, I mean comfort foods, are frozen, and yes, they're processed and all that. But there's a lot of people think a little different about that. There's even some processing, it doesn't mean the food isn't good. It's better off you stay away from processed foods. Yeah, a lot better off for you, but I don't think it's going to kill you. They say that the crud builds up in your colon and all that, and I'm not really totally buying that. Okay, we'll get away from that though. Um, there's just a few things in SNR I pick up in there. I have not been in Cebu for quite a while, actually. I have not been there in a while. How many months has it been since I've been in Cebu? I have not been there because I have no need to be there. I haven't had any need to be there. Sometimes we go off shopping. She's been there in the past several months, but um, God, I may have to go there next month. Let me see. It's my, uh, let's just say I call him my stepson, and one of her kids is getting married. He's been with a woman for a while. They got a baby, but they're getting a married, official marriage. So chances are I probably have to go there sometime next month. I don't know what date it is. So now they got the planes flying out of here. Now they got the planes back, and right now it's at a good price. Some introductory, what is it, $9.99, which is pretty good. The problem is they don't have that many flights. It's 2 days a week, and then you're gonna have to kind of coincide it, go parallel with your return flight to come back on this. It's like the same days or something that they offer the flights here coming back from Cebu. Oh, it's wonderful to be able to get there in like 40 minutes instead of like all the 6 hour journey it takes. But that's what I was saying earlier in my show. That's what I was saying earlier. That it's hard to navigate around in the Philippines. But the worst part is what they're charging you. I mean, you could fly off to another country or fly off to America somewhere with some of the local prices they're charging you to get from point A to point B. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not. But you want to go. Oh, I've never been to Palawan. You want to go to Palawan. From here, it would be awfully expensive with everything I have to do to get to Palawan. Flights, this, that, ferries from here, and blah blah blah, lodging and everything else, just to go see another fucking beach. And Palawan is not the safest area in the world either, let you know. And it's also on a major fault. Okay, I've seen Gregory says I've seen 3 tubers at SNR last Saturday. Now, who'd you see out of did you see Ricky? Ricky's there all the time. Ricky goes there sometimes almost every day just to get lunch or get something to eat. I don't think he stocks up in food because I don't even think he has a refrigerator in his dumpy little apartment. But he goes there usually in the morning when it opens up. He doesn't like the crowds, and that's probably the best thing to do. They open up at 9 o'clock. So you go there at 9 o'clock, and you don't have to deal with the crowd. But it's still awfully expensive in there. They're still awfully expensive. There's things I would like to buy in there. I'd like to buy the frozen ravioli. Absolutely. I love ravioli, cheese ravioli. Don't buy the beef. It tastes like shit. But you buy the frozen ravioli. Oh, it says Ricky. Oh, Ricky streams the Philippines Dreams and Cebu Boss Man. Are you seen Cebu Boss Man and Philippine Dream? Okay. I wouldn't even know who they are. I wouldn't even know who they were if I seen them. They'd probably know who I was if they saw me with Gilda, and I stick out like a sore thumb. That would be a surprise. Well, of course, I ran into Ricky several times in SNR. Yeah. What do we got here? Block blast. Okay. Supposed to be another storm coming in. Something to keep your eyes out on that will hit the Visayas. So we'll see what happens with that. I know 8 Miles from Home did a video. He gets creative when he really wants to. He did a good little short there about the possible storm coming into Surigao. And he's experienced these storms once before. Now he's got a brand new baby. Kind of an odd name he picked for the baby, Jupiter or some crap like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. He should cut his hair. He's not a bad looking guy. That hair makes him look kind of straggly, and it's awfully hot in the tropics to have long hair as a man. He got a wonderful daughter, very intelligent, new baby. They're right off the ocean. And this guy has money, and he gets it from, his wife's father has money. And in fact, he's living in the Philippines, my understanding. And I don't know, his father's dead or something, but his channel does very well. You could figure that he's making very good money on his channel. And rightfully so. Oh, they have a decent steak for the Philippines, but a bit pricey. Yes, it is. 8 Miles from Home does a really great job. They're very professional in how to get the audience and how they could bait them in too. That's another tool a lot of people use, is baiting people. But this guy, he's got the whole element. He's got, everything that makes that award-winning movie. He's got the wife. They're both British, okay? They experienced life from Britain coming here to the Philippines. They got the daughter. They got the baby. They got the dog, Poppy. It's like, Lassie or something. Timmy Lassie, remember the Lassie show? I mean, they got all the elements to make that fine pasta. You know what I mean? To come out as a show that's really popular, so it becomes like a family show. And he tries to add in a little bit of drama, a little intensity, and he's good at what he does. I mean, he's excellent at what he does. You could make a good living off YouTube if you got the right elements. Period. And you got to know how to edit. That would help your channel even more so. Decent intros. If you really want to invest your time and you got the patience to do stuff like that, you could do very well. I don't have the patience or anything for any of that shit. I'm not that interested in monetization unless I could make at least a couple of thousand a month. That would be significant, but it would never be a situation for me. I was monetized once before. I wasn't making shit. I was lucky to make the $100 that you need just to get paid every month, because you got to make at least get $100. A couple of months, I made a couple of $100. That was it. My channel wasn't going to do. It's just too much adversity. Nobody would donate to my show or anything like that. So, yeah. What did you say, Gregory? Oh, Philly in the Philippines. Yeah, it's gotten pretty lame. Yeah, it really has. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. These people are nomads. They don't know where they want to live. They can't settle down. He left Angeles City, and I call it what it is, Angeles City, not Angeles City. I don't know if everybody pronounces it that way, but that's my pronunciation of it. His wife had got accosted somehow in the street, got robbed or something, or I don't know. There's a lot of other elements because he got himself well known, and he just stuck out there too much. Same happened with what's his name? The what's his name? That was on all the time. Yeah, I tell you, I am getting old because I'm forgetting names. Says style, says style. Yeah, he even said at one time that people make him kind of freaked out a little bit because people would recognize him everywhere in the street. So I imagine that felt uncomfortable for him. Okay, let's see here. Seems ego uh, emboldened the tick to talk illegal crap about you, thinking ego would use his wallet to bail out the tick. At the end of the day, ego wasn't willing to drop big bucks on a tick's defense. Well, at the moment right now, it's because he owes me 250,000 pesos, nothing I'm going to get rich on. And he owes the court 250. I told you I wasn't going to talk about any legal stuff here, but just to answer your question. But uh, Eric Big Ego doesn't want to donate to him because he knows there's going to be money going in my pocket. Big Ego doesn't like me, but he could be civil to me if he wants to. And I've made some comments on his show, and he's very civil to me. And that's what we're going to try to be, is just civil. I don't honestly care what people think about me or not. I'm come to that point. I'm more comfortable with myself and what I do on YouTube. And if I'm to continue to make any shows, I got to follow my own rules and kind of stick to them, because that's the only way you're going to enjoy yourself on here. I like the vlog. I've always said that. It's an outlet, and believe me, when you're living in this country, any other country, you come from the U.S., you need an outlet. That's bottom line. I could bullshit you all, but you need an outlet, and sometimes there's not enough outlets. You live in an island town. There's only so much you can do. What? Go to the beach, right? How many times can you go to the beach? Yeah. So, it's a small town. A lot of the provinces are small too. There's not much to do, man. It just really isn't much to do. So I'm not going to make any conclusions about anybody. I know Big E has turned on me a whole lot of times. He's really close to Mick Fisher and as friends. And Mick was all right in the beginning with me, but then when he got close to Big Ego, he turned on me. And I have nothing against Yachts, but because she's a close friend of Biggie and certainly Mick Fisher, she doesn't think very highly of me, and I've never done nothing wrong with her. I've met her when I met Mick Fisher once or twice. I was nothing but cordial to her and vice versa. I don't have anything against her at all. I never said anything bad about her, in fact, so whatever. Frank, I do like your new idea about covering the news. And that's not my dentist. Well, to the real Mary Beth, I already had a cleaning. I'll be back in. Oh, Mary Beth. That's, by the way, that's a troll. Yeah. Vasto's cult. Ego sent Fisher to visit you as a Trojan horse. Yes, I know. I'm not as stupid as people think I am. I don't know. I may come off as being a little bit goofy now and then, but just for fun. But, you know, ducks in a row with most things, and I know what I'm doing most of the time. Most of the time, anyway. Yeah. Mary, but it's not Mary Beth. Trust me. Let's see. It's certainly not Mary Beth. Anyway, I was actually part of somebody's wedding and all that. And it's so ritual. I mean, what could be done like in an hour, it takes about 4 hours to do in the Philippines. So I'm not a man of patience. I'd never be a doctor because I'd have no patience. Get it? Ha ha. Okay. We got 10 in the house now. Yeah, I'm pretty chill. There's certain things that I wish were over with, but you kind of gotta go with the flow sometimes. Yeah, it's Christmas season. Could you imagine that, man? Basto says you're one of the most intelligent YouTubers in the Philippines. Most of the attacks are jealousy. Well, yeah, I've kind of figured that out. I don't know about how intelligent I am. I mean, I'm not the most eloquent person in word usage. I was never an English major, but I'm smart enough to know a little about this, a little bit about that, you know. Let's just put it this way. In a personal, social atmosphere somewhere, doesn't matter what kind of group, rich, poor, whatever, I fit into just about every group comfortably, into a lower class of people, a higher class of people, and fit in and talk quite intelligently, unless I get ahead of myself. I tend to sometimes interrupt people. I see a lot of that going on, especially with that guy, Martini. He he's got ADHD, and I don't know what else he has. He's quite a talker, and he interrupts people more than I ever did. Billions of license. Oh, I'm reading the news thing that's coming on here. Yeah, I know at least a little about a whole lot. Yeah, I think that's a quote of mine I used to use. I'm reasonably, all I can say is I'm reasonably intelligent. I'm no brain scientist by any means, but I'm a good person to read between the lines, put it that way. I can make judgment on somebody a matter of minutes after I met him and talked to him. I could already know whether the person's full of shit, or if I would mesh with them as a friend or whatever. It doesn't take long for me. I read people, and that's either a blessing or a curse, according to how you want to look at it. You know, she's back. She's back. You back.
I'm back.
That was a short mass, wasn't it? Is Badinsky. Martini is, he's a Badinsky. Oh, okay, I got you. Jim Dexel guy is the most unhinged. He is, yes, he is like a miniature vitality. He actually, and actually, I know who you guys meant earlier, another show. We were talking about the guy who's Estonian, and that's the pro-life traveler guy. Do you realize he just recently bought a truck? And this guy likes to use his extended rod, for his camera while he's driving. So the guy got into an accident. He pretty much totaled his car.
Wow.
So now he goes off and buys a small car. And he's doing the same thing again. He's sticking the damn camera out the window while he's vlogging. So therefore, he's not paying attention. Sorry, we had a little reconnect going on here. Hold on. Well, I mentioned on there that, the steroid use is what's going to kill the guy, okay? The steroidal usage. You're hearing it all the time. Steroids will kill you, man. How about some thumbs up on here? Okay. My show, not that it matters, but I'm trying. keeping that in mind with Jim, I think the problem with him is, like with a lot of people on here, their ego is just out of whack. Totally out of whack. He got in trouble with Dexel and all that, and he can't go back to the Philippines. He'll never go back because, first of all, this is a real situation with adultery because she is the spouse, and he could easily get arrested on that alone. Then he had that legal case going he wasn't showing up for with a kid who had thrown something at his kid's head, and he did something and all that. He could never return to that little piggery house that he had out there. I can't even believe he spent the money to go put that together or build it. I can't even believe that he did that. And it's said that he supposedly in America is living with his mom. Now he's deciding that, Cambodia is the place to be. I'm not saying it's not. I think there's probably a lot of good things about Cambodia. It's probably one of the least looked at places out there that actually, from my understanding, is not a bad place to be. Dexel said it wasn't his money. It was his mother paying all of that. Yeah, it looks like a nice house. It looks like his parents have a few bucks. I mean, that's at least what I'm seeing, and I'm putting together. Oh shit, that should have been put in the
No,
fridge.
you want to put that in the
Oh, you know what? I would have put that in a bowl and put it away. That shouldn't be left out that long. She made a pretty good spaghetti, but it's been sitting out here for an hour and a half.
No, I just keep that one. I just put back out.
Oh, where was it? You had it in the fridge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a different story then, if you had it in the fridge. Yeah. In this tropical weather, you don't want to keep anything out here.
I just put out because I got
You want to just eat your food. Even in the refrigerator, it's not going to last so long. Pardon me, I'm just drinking some water here, if you don't mind.
Then I put in the small.
Yeah, that was a good spaghetti, by the way. Yeah, it wasn't bad. All I needed was some ricotta in there. I was saying earlier, some ricotta. That would have been excellent. I guess the point, I don't even know what to eat anymore. Ever get a point that you burned out on food? And it's also because of the fact that I, haven't been S&R for a long time. So I have not been buying the, so-called comfort food, So, problem with that. All right, I'm going to lay on my bed here for a second. I have some privacy so I can talk here. Bastos says the mother was charged on a visa all of Jim's problems in the Philippines. Swallowed wrong. Wrong pipe. Don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. Look, I see through a lot of this, okay? I see through a lot of this. Nobody tells their true story on here. Nobody. Aloe was on earlier. Talked to him a little bit, asked a few questions, and I'll see. Cebu Dining is trending now. He has a 10 Michelin star restaurant. Yeah. You hear all kinds of stories from people on here. You can't believe any of it. Like I said, Stephen, that British guy with the, you know what I'm talking about. Hello, all you lovely people. Now, that guy's full of shit, totally full of shit. But let's not go on the attack of people. Let's keep it at a level. We could talk about a few things with their characters and all that about their show itself, but I think making personal attacks on people is something we shouldn't be doing. We can certainly talk about their shows and have opinions on whether their opinion is coming from a real place or not. And that's really all I'm doing here. And I'm telling you that he makes up a lot of his stuff just to have a show. You become a slave to your YouTube channel if you monetize, okay? Bastos says, even Ego's true story is a trust fund, not selling air conditioners. He does come from a wealthy area in California, and he comes from a wealthy family, is what I've been able to put together. Knowing his age, I might imagine that possibly both of his parents might be gone. There might be an inheritance involved in why he has money. He doesn't make bad money on his job doing sales, a sales rep, but He's not. I actually looked up his position, and it's about 100 on an average, unless you've been working for a company for quite a while, and he has. He has. It averages maybe 150,000 a year, which is not bad for average people. 150,000 a year is not bad at all. How much is that a month? That's not bad. He claims he probably makes a lot more than that. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's really none of my business anyway. But, obviously he's doing well. He's able to travel. He takes his family out to expensive dinners and is able to handle two girlfriends, one a wife, one a mistress, and whatever. You got to have money for that and all those kids. So, yeah, does he got money? Yeah, he's got money. Yeah. Of course he's got money. Yeah. He wouldn't be able to do all those things. Yeah, it's more from an inheritance. And that's where some of these people, trust fund babies and all kinds of stuff, that's where they get their money from. It's not like they really earned it, you know what I mean? Yeah, family inheritance. And hey, nothing wrong with that. If you get inheritance from your family. My family was poor, there was nothing to inherit. So, don't apply to me. Yeah, yeah. But, a salesperson, you've been with a company for a long time, yeah, you can make some decent money, according what endeavor what field you're in. And but the economy keeps on tanking. Who knows what his position that might be. He could probably retire and make decent money, and plus his inheritance and everything else. He'd have no problem keeping up his lifestyle. But we're not all like that. I'm just a poor bloke. That's all I am. Living off my goddamn Social Security. Jasper is definitely inheritance. Um, I don't even listen to Jasper. I'm surprised he's still alive because he's made a lot of enemies on here. He's just a character that you don't want to associate with. But people buy into his shows. I mean, I don't know what it is. People that subscribe and donate to shows like him, they're usually a plane, if you know what I mean, in life, and they relate to each other somehow. I don't see why anybody would donate to this guy's show at all. I really don't know. But the fact is, let's face the reality. There's a lot of lonely people out there. A lot of lonely people. All the lonely people. And loneliness really sucks. You go back to Fazio, and, that was a good example of an extraordinarily lonely man. So what do you do when you're lonely? You have to do something. So you create a show. But then, in order to get people to listen to you, you got to do something crazy. You got to have some shtick to get people, whether it's a good-looking woman or act really zany or do something to attract people to your show or create controversy, drama, and so forth. Those are the elements of a successful show. Now, he never made that much money on his show, Fazio. But that guy was so lonely, I would not be surprised he'd cry himself to sleep. And I'm being very honest with you. Be very honest with you. That guy led a very horrible background, and he kind of cheaped out on people, ran away from the house that he owned in Florida. The county or whatever municipality was after his ass because all the shit he had in his yard. He was getting fined up the ass for that. He went out and took a loan from the bank, remortgaged the house or something, and that's what he did. He took the money and ran off to the Philippines because he owed people a lot of money, even all the way down to traffic violations. He even owned that. Besides the county, owing the county a lot of money for the fines for keeping all the trash in a clean neighborhood, But he was entertaining, and that's why people listen to him. But it's kind of a sad story with Fazio with him because, yeah, Nietzsche and a gimmick. I've never, in the history of myself being on YouTube, I never had a gimmick. I had nothing like that. I didn't bait anybody. Well, I baited certain people because I knew they'd come on and come back to me. But other than a bait to get somebody to come to listen to my show, no, that was not a normal thing for me. I just come on the show, open my mouth, and I talk about whatever's on my mind. And it's very hard, like I said, I could devote a show to one topic and one topic only was very hard for me and still is. Bostos cult says supposedly Jasper got cut out of the big money left by grandma, but he did get a sympathy amount of 600 USD a month. Grandma hoped he would work hard in life. Well, people want to run away from their responsibilities and they want the easy life out. A lot of people say that I worked the system and all that to get Social Security disability when I did. No, I did not work the system at all. Not one bit. I'm not even going to say what my disability was for. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be both. Who knows? It's not something I ever talk about, but no, whatever disability I had at the time, I'm not on a disability anymore because I'm on regular Social Security. I have nothing to do with disability. But they say I didn't work a lot. I worked a lot. I just didn't have jobs that were that steady other than the Parks Department with the city of Seattle, which was the longest job I had, but the combination of all my jobs allowed me to get Social Security. I wasn't on the dole and all that shit. I was never really on the dole. Okay, so, misinformation, of course. But instead, he survived scamming on YouTube, yeah. And Sir Gregory says, Frank, if you did get a big lump sum, what change would I make? If I had a big lump sum of money? Probably not much. I'd probably try to do a little bit of traveling, nothing elaborate. Um, I don't know. I think I'd get some health insurance. I do not want to devote the money to that because you're not getting the coverage you want. And it's basically mostly a lot of hospitals say, but as you hit my age, they raise the premiums really high. What if I stay healthy and I don't need to go to a hospital again? It's a waste of money. But I still kept my Part B of the Social Security because you never know. Because you get rid of that, it's probably a big mistake. Because if you had to go back to the States, at least you would have the Medicare. Okay? Sure, I can make, another $260 a month, whatever the hell it might be, which would certainly come in handy. More money always comes in handy. I can't do that, and I can't bring myself to do that, even with the rising inflation. I don't want to take that chance. You could say to yourself, well, you lasted 71 years, you're still alive, you seem to be still reasonably healthy, Frank, but yeah, it's true, but anything could happen at any moment in time. It could happen 5 minutes after I end this broadcast. I mean, you just don't really know. So you got to be careful. Keep your Medicare Part B. I would buy a second home in another country like Thailand. No, then you got to manage that and all that shit, It's not worth the headache. You see what I went through with my tenants in Hawaii? You think I want to become a landlord again or some shit like that? Hell no. Hell no. Second home. I don't want a second home. How about some thumbs up, folks? No, I would not want a second home. I'm done with being a landlord. I was a landlord for 14, 15 years. No. Gregory says, I mean like a summer house. That's a waste of money. A summer house for the wealthy, champagne, caviar, all that shit, I only need one residence, If you got that much money, whatever, you could, find a nice condo to stay at and visit, or B&B, Airbnb or some shit like that. You need to buy a place. It's a hassle. Vacation, just go rent a condo or something or whatever. If you got that kind of money, you don't need to buy a place to do that. It's just a headache. It turns out into a headache. I never got into investing my money and all that shit, so I'd be in a lot better shape than I am now if I did, but I'm not. I mean, it is what it is. I'm like any other schmuck on there, living on their retirement money, and that's it. That's it. We're not rich over here, and I even have my moments. Something comes up, and boom. Oh, I didn't expect that. Oh, more money for that. Oh, this has got to be fixed here. Oh, that roof has to be fixed. We got a lot of work to do in this house, actually. Not a lot, but there is things we need to do. And I don't always have the extra money to do it. Not always. Some months are better than the others, but no, I'm not rich here. Never was. Never was. I wish I had $1 million house I sold in Hawaii. I'd be in really good shape. Yeah. Turn that into pesos. That's a lot of money. But no, we're just get by people. That's all we are. We're just average folk. I'm just an average expat out here. That's all I am. That's no fame, no claim to fame on being rich or anything. I don't know what you call being rich out here. I got an idea, but I'm not going to actually do any quotations as what I have in a bank or what I don't have in a bank. That's getting a little personal. We're trying to stay away from the personal shit as far as that goes, other than saying that my girlfriend went to mass or something. As I don't really get into all this shit. We're keeping it clean as I possibly can. And no, I don't give a fuck what the copycat channels do. I don't care what Popeye winds up saying. I don't. It doesn't faze me. Because one of the things I don't do, I see a lot of channels on here. I don't go to see if Popeye's done anything new. I don't go to the Frank whatever replay channel. Honestly, I don't go there at all. I mean, I took off for how many months? I was off YouTube for a reason, and that was all part of it. I did not want to be part of that shit anymore. Have you heard from the scammer Hawaii tenants lately? I have no reason to hear from them. I'm not in touch with them. I don't think Karma did them too well. The last word I got from someone local out there, they might have broken up, him and his wife. Part of them might be living in Oahu and part on the Big Island. And, karma catches up to you eventually. Yeah, but the things they did were really horrible. None of that shit happened, guys. And I'm not going to get into this again. Just take my word on it. They were bad tenants. They really destroyed part of my place. Didn't pay me 4 months worth of rent. I had to get a lawyer. That cost me money. And lawyers, and more lawyers. Yeah. But no, I don't hear from them. I don't plan to hear from them. They're not getting a penny from me. The trolls like to say, oh, you owe $60,000 to your tenants in Hawaii. Well, they're not going to see a penny of it. Okay, so why talk about it? Why talk about it? You know? Were you ever divorced and got divorced? You want to talk about your past old ladies, It's gone. It's over with. They're not getting a dime off me. There's no legal way they can get any money off me. So why talk about it? It's not a winning point when you're trying to jump on my case. It's not a winning point at all. They're not getting any money. They don't deserve it. They were scammers. They haven't got a penny off me. They never will. End of story on that. That's a done deal. It's history in the making, and that's it. They are paying in their own way. I guarantee you, they are paying in their own way. Because their life wasn't going real well when I knew them and they were living there. They were fighting a lot. They had one child there that was having a counselor come over. It has nothing to do with me. That was contemplating suicide a lot. They'd smoke cigarettes and pot in front of the kids, drink in front of the kids. Everything went there. Everything went. It was not a great family unit. It's probably the best thing, clearly, I could say. The judge may have violated the law, not accepting your testimony. Yeah, he did, but he had to make it good. It was an African-American family, okay, and he was more pissed off the judge that I didn't show up in person. I was in the Philippines and I couldn't show up. But I did show up on camera, and that should have been allowed. But he said, oh, you had to pre-schedule that and all that. No, because they gave me the communication information, how to be on the Zoom camera, the number and everything. And I got on it. So that was a lot of bullshit. Yeah. They wouldn't have got no verdict in their favor. But the judges are kind of sensitive to a whole lot of things. They're God in that courtroom. If he tells you to come in person, you come in person. But if you're out of the country, and maybe at the moment at that time I couldn't afford to come back over, or had some responsibilities, I couldn't do it. So I did the next best thing. And you're allowed to do that. You could do Zoom, and it's allowable in the courts. But he claimed that, well, we didn't set it up. They did set it up. The court is the ones that gave me the communication information so I could do a Zoom. Yeah, bait and switch. Yeah, kind of like, yeah. It was a bum deal, but hey, whatever. It's history. It's over with, and they weren't the best tenants in the world. But remember, I didn't choose them as tenants. My brother did. So, God, I can't believe it'll be, 2 years coming March that my brother passed away? Jesus Christ. Time is going too fast. It's still hard to believe. But we were talking on an earlier show about the family unit. At least I kind of got into it a little bit. We've been on here quite a while, so we're not going to make it too much longer. Actually, I got to spend some time with my girlfriend here, but we'll watch a movie or something. But you know, there's only so many things you can do with your family units. Your blood family and all that. Sure, I miss my daughter. Sure, I love my daughter. But you know what? When you have differences and one person is not willing to put their good foot forward, and I certainly have, and it just gets stepped on, there's nothing you can really do. You got to accept what is. You just got to say to yourself, did I raise her correctly? Yes, I did. Did I love her? Yes, I did. Did she ever really go without? No, she never went without. Medically, dentally, everything was covered. She had the slightest cold. I guess the thing that really irks me a lot, I will say this on a personal level, is that when you've given so much of yourself to another human, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's your child, whether it was a wife, a girlfriend, or your child, and she doesn't think about all the shitty diapers and all the ass wiping I did to her as an infant. She doesn't think of the good things I've done for her and taking her on vacations that a lot of kids weren't able to do. She's been to Hawaii like 4 times. She's been to Hollywood, California, the Billboard Music Awards there. She's been to Victoria, Canada. She's been to New York. I mean, I took care of her. I took care of her. I took good care of her. And it does hurt me. It really does. I'm not saying I was a perfect parent. I was a damn good parent, though, but it's sad. But, it is what it is. You can't force, whether it's an old friend of yours, an old relationship, or a family member, you can't force somebody into your life when they're that stubborn and they just don't want to. Gregory says our kids grew up feeling they were entitled to what their parents gave them. I think she was always hoping that I was the kind of parent that wore a suit, a businessman type of guy, because she used to watch all these family shows with a guy. I mean, they always had professional jobs, and I think she lived vicariously through these family shows, and that was like her extended family. I know it was. I know it as a fact. Yeah. Yeah, they sometimes growing up feeling they're entitled, but yeah. Oh, I put my foot down when I had to. Never laid a hand on her. I chased her upstairs one time. I was really mad. She ran in the closet. That was all it was. I scared the shit out of her. Of course, I never physically abused my child. I gave her a lot of love, and I tried to show a lot of love. I'm not making any excuses for anything because there's no excuses to make on anything, really. She was taken care of, and I did my best. And you know what, guys? As a parent, you have to understand something. You do your best, and that's really all you can do. And everything else is either icing on the cake in a good way, or it's just a bunch of crap. You can't stop your life and your living because your child or a friend or whatever it may pertain to doesn't see eye to eye with you. You just got to go with the flow, and you got to think about your own life. You're getting older, and you got to think about your current family. This is my family right here. I got 2 kids here that live with me, and the rest of her family they're like my stepkids. Of course, we're not married, but they're like my stepkids. I don't regret my situation at all. Um, I will tell you that in the beginning, she did not tell me about all of this at all the kids and all that stuff. She did not. It was until later on. Why did she do that? And that makes an interesting topic in the future, but it actually has to do when a Filipina is interested in a man and she don't want to let him go. She's not going to come off right off the bat and say, by the way, I've got a shitload of kids. No, they're not going to come out and say that to you because they're afraid that you're going to turn around and walk the other way. It was well into a year or more before I actually knew that she had any kids. I never discussed that with anybody here, okay? And it bothered me a lot. But she was still scared because we were still in the earliest stages of our relationship. And this is a common thing that happens when you meet a Filipino out there, she's not going to come right up. If she's interested in you and she's really interested in you, she's not going to come right out and say, well, guess what? I've been married before or I've got children. She's not going to tell you that. That'll come in their own good time when they figure they got you emotionally involved with them. See, this is the secret. Okay, once they catch you, you get emotionally involved with them. They know they got you. And because you got yourself in love with them, you're emotionally involved. Learn from this, man. Just learn from this. They're not going to tell you the things that, well, maybe you don't want to hear. Okay? They will come out with it in their own time when they're ready. And that's the only time they're going to do it. Don't expect anything different. If they are interested in you, they're not going to give you all the bad news, according to how you want to look at it. Were they lying? Well, they're not lying if they didn't tell you. Well, how do I put that? Unless you asked. It's according to how you want to look at it. But then it comes out. And then I find out how many, not just having one, but having as many as she has. Sure, it hit me in the head like a kick. Absolutely. What's that? Oh wow, that actually means strong love. Yeah. Now, whatever you want to interpret. No, we're really good. We get tighter and tighter as the years go by. We really do. Like I said, I'm very fortunate. I'm not a rich man or anything like that, but I'm rich in love, and I got that situation going for me, and I'm very happy about it. Extraordinarily happy about it. As I'm getting older, and I didn't leave. I'd had a lot of girlfriends in my life. I actually did. Just there'd be no lying about that. None at all. But it's shallow, man. It's all shallow. Like the lights. There's nothing worse, I will tell you, than being in a relationship shallow, where the woman is actually using you as a stepping stone for money. I will tell you in all honesty, when I met her, it never talked about anything I did or how much money I had or did not have. Money was never in the equation. And she's never, in that romance time, never asked me for money for the family and nothing like that. She's never asked me for anything. That's how you know when it's real. It's a good start. But all in all, it's been. I don't agree with everything in her culture, and some things she does irritate times. Her way of thinking on certain aspects of life and different things. Like the animals. But me, I want to come to the rescue. She's thinking, well, it's like any other Filipino. Well, you put them in the field. If they live kind of attitude. That just doesn't work with me. But there's a lot of bugaboos. There's a lot of bugaboos. Every Filipino has a lot of bugaboos. She has her bugaboos. I call them bugaboos. And I have my own. I'm not innocent of anything either with that. But I've been faithful to her the whole time. She's been faithful to me, and that's a keeper, man. She's a keeper. I'm not rich. I had a lot more money when I sold the house. You know, we did what we need to do. And I don't have as much anymore. It's been hospitalization for the kidney stone crap a couple of times. Whatever. I'm not rich. Oh, hell no. I'm not rich at all. But we're okay. That's the main thing. And understand something else too. And when I talk about, and everybody else talks about it, but when you buy a house in your relationship with a Filipina, and some people say, well, gee, Frank, you're not even married to the woman. You bought a house. We bought a house. It's both of our houses. Let's get that clear. Until I'm dead. She ain't going to sell the house on me, and I'm not going to sell the house on her. It requires her signature. But I am on the paperwork. That's the main thing. You got to be a little smart. And a little other extra things I did to ensure that I would never be kicked out of the house in case of anything like a 25-year lease. Okay, there you go. I'm not that stupid. I'm not that stupid, you know. But I've had a lot of stupid moments. And I've done stupid things like Some stupid people can do, but not as stupid as some of the things I'm witnessing on YouTube, even more so now. Some of the characters we talked about, I mean, it's almost like, come on, man, like, is this staged? Are they really living their life that way, looking for trouble? I mean, like Jim and all these people, I mean, like, it's like one of these what the fuck situations, you know? How do you live your life and you're aging and stuff, and you gotta ground yourself? Fuck his muscles. All he cares about is getting his prescription. Oh, yeah, I'm in Cambodia and I can get my prescriptions and I can get blah, 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 blah for cheaper and without a prescription and this and that. Oh, the big prerequisite for him, I gotta live near a gym. Well, nothing's gonna change this guy. Muscles are not gonna make his character any better. I said, I've seen him without his shirt on. Very gnarly looking, you know, his muscle with the aging skin just doesn't jive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the usage of the steroids is what's going to kill him. You know? But, you know, I mean, I can't tell people what to do. I can suggest things and all that stuff, which I've always had on my show, but you're going to do what you want to do, whether I like it or not. It don't matter whether I like it. You're going to do what you do. Did your current lawyers draw up the lease paperwork? No, it was local lawyer. Local lawyer. Legitimate stuff. I'm not worried about the house. If I really wanted to sell the house, she probably would, not at first, she'd probably agree with me to a certain point. I wouldn't want her to sell the house because it's meant to be in a family, because her kids are going to inherit it when her time comes. And this is something that I wanted to do for her, but I did it for me too. I was a little bit selfish because I thought ahead too, because now I don't have to pay rent. Okay, I wouldn't be living as well as I am if I had to pay rent. That would be that much less I would have every month. So I was a little selfish in buying the house. It was a little bit of selfishness. It worked for me too, but if you love somebody, what are you going to do? You can't take it with you, man. What are you going to do? Give it to somebody who's been at your side, somebody that you can trust and always can trust, somebody that's been for you, and as you get older, she's definitely your caretaker. She's my caretaker now. Believe me, she is. Not just my lover, my girlfriend. She's my caretaker too. She does look after me quite a bit. It's not that I need a lot of looking after. There's some moments I feel that I need to. But it's not that bad. But let's just say as I get older, and hopefully I will get older, and my health will stay good, she's there for me, man. She is there for me. And I love it. You know, you can't go through life like this Jim got and all these other losers, man, because, and Ricky and stuff like that, because, you know, they're not grounded. They're going from town to town, and maybe they know they have health problems, and they're just kind of throwing caution to the wind or something in that regards. Maybe that's what's going on with Ricky, Richard, Jared. I don't know. I suspect that's what's going on with him. I've seen that table, how many medicine bottles this guy has to take when he was in his room there. And Mandawi, he kind of pointed over his medicine, and he had a round table there. God knows how many bottles of medicine was on that table. So we obviously got a lot of things going on. Okay, but yeah, I already answered that question. So yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice that you have to make for yourself, and what you think is best for you. If they want to meander around the countryside and go from one Southeast Asian country to another, whatever, that's their gig. But they're going to find as they get older, or as maybe their health conditions worsen, and it will, with some of them for sure, no names mentioned, but there's several of them, and they're even talking about another guy who's quite a character. See, I'm getting older. I shouldn't drop names really, but I've been doing that quite a bit. For a purpose though. just for context. But people are having some heart problems. One guy, Janet is his wife. You know who I'm talking about. And this guy has some heart conditions. He said breathing and was bad when he walked or something. And he's obviously got something wrong. He went to the doctor, and he's kind of trying to lay it out so that, I'm okay, but you're really not. He's really, really, really not. Oh, like bringing friends. What's that? Bosto says, do they overwhelm you with numbers like 10 of them inside taking Versailles? I'm not sure what you're talking about. What are you referencing? I'm not sure, so I can't answer that question. Like bringing friends and stuff. You mean her kids? I don't know if you're talking about my girlfriend's kids. No, there's only 2 kids living here. One is that normally lives here is in Cebu at the moment, but the older girl, her oldest, has been here for about a week so far. She's not staying here, but she works from her computer. Well, the 14-year-old, he's pretty tall now. He's got a girlfriend, and actually, so does the younger one. They both got girlfriends. They're talking on the phone all the time. And the older one, he's only 14. He's almost taller than me already. He's got a good-looking girlfriend. But I don't like him staying out beyond 9 o'clock. It is my house, and I'm kind of a surrogate parent, and you got to lay down the rules. And maybe they're not my blood children, but they're like my children. And sometimes you have to put your foot down. She, unfortunately, my girlfriend, is a little bit too lax on this. I said, man, when I was growing up at that age, I was in the house. Even at 14, man, you're definitely home at 9 o'clock at night. If it goes beyond that, you get a lot of shit for that. You've got to keep an eye on your children. Whether blood or not, you've got to keep an eye on them. There's too much crazy shit out there. You got to worry about them. It gives you something else to worry about. I'm more of a discipliner than my girlfriend is really with the kids. Although it takes a while for her to get around to really discipline them or saying anything to them. Because she don't like to get confrontational with anything, not even her kids. She don't like getting confrontation. That's a typical Filipino anyway. Yeah, I still am taller than the boys, but Christian, the one that's living here, is pretty damn close to my height. And I'm not tall, but for a guy that's only 14, he's pretty tall, he's athletic. The other one is more brainy than athletic. They're different in that way, but they're very close to brothers. They're very close. Yeah. And I am taller than Barry, by the way. You could go dicker the pictures all you want and edit it, but no. Barry is much shorter than me, by the way. And anybody who's met him will tell you that. Of course, Big E and all these other people, when they're in a bad mood with me or something, can always say that Barry's taller than Frank. No, Barry's not taller than Frank. I'm not even close. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Okay, I gotta go. I want to watch a little bit of TV or something, spend some time with the lady. She's not either happy or mad that I'm on YouTube. She knows that it's an outlet for me, as it is for a whole lot of expats out here. Let's face it, it's an outlet. The fact that you're listening to me is an outlet for you. And maybe a lot of you don't even live in the Philippines. I don't know who's even listening to me that's living in the Philippines. I really don't know. But you remember the video showing my size, yeah. Yeah, I'm not tall. I'm like barely 5'7". But I don't have a problem with that. And by today's standards, that's today's standards. Yeah, 5'7" would be considered to be on the shorter side. But if I had an ideal height, like I could actually choose that genetically, right? I'd say 5'10" would be an ideal height for a man. Anything taller than that, you have a problem. Look at Big E. He's like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", whatever the hell he is. Mick Fisher's a big guy too. You got to be able to find clothes that fit you. Unfortunately, for people of that size, they do tend to develop heart problems, and they tend to develop a lot of structural problems with their bones and arthritic problems and easy bone injuries and stuff. So no, I don't wish I was ever that tall. No, if I could be reborn again or something, I could guarantee you I don't. I gotta shut this door here. Hold on. lockup time. Yeah, I don't. That's not my. That would not be my endeavor to be that tall. I think that's, quite honestly, I think that's too problematic. As they will find out in time, it's just much too problematic. AD says, I can't believe you were gone so long, and yes, I'm. It's an outlet for me to listen to this show. Well, a lot of people are afraid to admit that. You don't have to be afraid to say that. I mean, it's an outlet to me. I don't really do a lot of shit with my time. I really don't. It's just every day the same shit for me, pretty much from when I wake up. I can tell you when I take a shit when I wake up. I mean, everything with me, it's just. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's like right on the clock. I know exactly what I do when I wake up in order. It's kind of a habit of mine, everything I do when I first wake up. You know, and that's why I used to do all these shows at like, 6 in the morning or earlier, because I'm usually up at that time. I don't sleep in late because I can't. My body system won't allow me to, and also the medication I take that helps me to get to sleep has kind of a, let's just call it a shelf life. Okay. And after 4 hours, it's kind of ineffective in trying to achieve the result I want. So therefore, I will wake up or be very light sleeping after 4 hours or so. I'm lucky to get in 6 hours a night, which is really not enough even at my age. You still need 7 or 8 or more hours a night. I don't get that. I definitely tell you that. I don't get that. I don't get that much. I mean, I don't wake up in the morning. You ever see on shows, they wake up and they stretch their arms and, I feel so refreshed. No, I really don't feel refreshed when I get up. And I'm being honest with you, I do not feel refreshed. Like I can't wait till daylight comes because I don't like the dark when I get up. I really don't like the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark, but everybody else is sleeping and I'm the only one that's up besides the dogs. They greet me, of course. Sometimes the kids are up because, Jesus Christ, they do schoolwork, they do gaming, they do all this shit. They've got kind of erratic sleep schedules, guarantee you. But yeah, a lot of people don't believe I can get off. I can get off YouTube at this point anytime I want. It's not going to bother me. I've proved it to myself. And I'm just giving it the old college try again is what I'm doing. So don't have any grandiose expectations. When I have something to talk about, which I usually do, I'll get on and talk about it. But I proved to myself I have the discipline not to go on. Basto says, if you didn't want to live in Santa Fe, what would be the second town or city you would choose in it? Well, it kind of goes along with, where do we want to go on vacation? The Philippines. And there is no particular place that I have in mind that excites me so much. Don't get me wrong. There's some beautiful islands out in the Philippines here. Gorgeous, beautiful islands that'll, put you in awe. But I haven't narrowed it down. The problem is it's getting from point A to point B, which becomes a hassle. And that's why I'm not well traveled. JD says, as a former New Yorker, what's your opinion about the mayor's election on Tuesday with Mandami leading Cuomo? I don't keep up with that shit. I didn't realize that Cuomo was even running again. Well, his brother took a big hit on CNN. I forgot what he's working for now, probably a lesser salary. Personally, I like Chris Cuomo. I'm sure you're talking about the father Cuomo, right? Not Chris. Yeah. I don't really follow a lot of things going on in New York. New York is so part of my past. New York is all fucked up right now. All this immigration shit going on and the price and cost of living in New York is crazy as hell. I mean, I got out of New York, I think, at a really good time. Everything with me was perfect, good timing as it worked for me. So when I left New York, the only thing bad I felt was that my father was divorced from my mom. He was living alone. And I've always felt bad about that. He came out to Seattle to visit me one time. I couldn't believe he took a bus across the country. And he's had cancer he didn't even know about. He looked like shit when he got off the bus, to tell you the truth. He was unshaven. Just didn't look well. He stayed about a week over here and took a bus all the way back home. It was an adventure to him because he never traveled many places. But he loved it. When he got back, all he could talk about was like, oh, my son, a beautiful place in Seattle and all that. New York is such a past memory of mine, but it's always be part of me. I am a New Yorker. I guess you could call me a Washingtonian too, because I lived in Washington State for 25, 26 years. And I guess you could call me, a Hawaiian. I've lived in Hawaii for almost 15 years. So I put my time in three different states, and not many people get to do that. That is something to talk about, actually. I got to experience the cultures of three different states, which is not a bad thing. I had a short stint in Alaska. I didn't do that bad, man. I didn't do that bad. My life hasn't been that bad. If I would have stayed in New York, yeah, I probably would have been in my trade with photography and all that, but that didn't happen. And yes, I did get a bachelor's degree in photography. Yes, I did. Don't need to go into that. I've done things I'm proud of, and that's all that matters to me. It don't matter to anybody else what they think. I've done a few things I'm happy about. I've done a few things I'm not happy about. But I went from New York and boom, 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 met a girl from Seattle and wound up moving there, not because we had a relationship going at the time. I just that I happened to be Seattle. I wanted to spread my wings a little bit, which I never did. And I wound up in Washington State anyway, where I wound up living like a quarter of a century. Beautiful place, by the way. I've been fortunate to live in some beautiful places like Washington State and Hawaii. How many people get to live in Hawaii? That alone, you know, is something to brag about. 14, 15 years, I don't know the exact, I've lived in Hawaii. It was beautiful, it was spiritual, it was crazy though. Um, Not many people get to own a house in Hawaii, whether mortgaged or not. I did that. I did that. And I'm very happy I got to experience Hawaii. It's been a dream of a lot of people, just a vacation in Hawaii, but Jesus Christ, I was living in Hawaii. And I didn't just avoid the uh, the local neighborhoods and stuff. I was part of a local neighborhood, and a lot of the residents where I lived were a mixed bunch of foreigners and very local people. Whether they were many with Hawaiian blood, some full-blooded Hawaiians, some general locals mixed with Portuguese and so forth, and Filipino and Hawaiian. You mesh yourself with the community, is what you do. You become part of the community. Although I didn't partake in all the beliefs of the Hawaiians had about sovereignty, because it'll never happen, you know, still, oh, what's that? Oh, JD says, my kid also has a bachelor's degree in photography in New York City. No shit. He's making good money in a fashion. Where did he go? Did he go to Fashion Institute? Did he go to School of Visual Arts? Where did he go for his training? Yeah, if you get lucky in the fashion industry, but it's a dog eat dog world in New York to compete with that. I could have got into the music industry easily with my photography at the time when they actually did album covers. That was a long time ago. Because I told you one friend of mine had all these contacts and shit, but then we kind of broke apart as friends and all that, and that kind of killed that. I could have done album covers for everyone from Sting to Blondie and so forth. Oh, okay. Parsons. Well, Parsons has been around for a while. They have a new school now, the new Parsons. I don't know, but yeah, Parsons, very good. And I went to the School of Visual Arts, and that's very renowned now. It was back then, but more so now. Yeah, a very highly accredited school. And I know there's some famous people that came out of School of Visual Arts too. But I started off at New York Institute of Technology for less than 2 years. And I basically took communications art, a little about concepts of advertising. And they kind of introduced me into the field of, 16 millimeter uh, film, filming and cameras and so forth. And I made a little 5 minute, my first effort on doing any kind of a movie was 5 minutes long. It was part of an assignment. I still wish I had that reel. Oh, it's very renowned. It's very renowned. It absolutely is. And some of the teachers were top notch. Top notch. I had a woman who was my mentor, really. She was from Finland, and she died many, many years ago. She was pretty older age at the time, and she was very supportive of my work. She thought I had something, but she said, you're going too fast. You want to be published, Frank. You want to do this. She said, start off slow. And she had faith in my work. And she used to take pictures of famous artists. I mean, musical artists, painters, that kind of stuff. Famous people. I can't name names. It's been a long time. That was her thing. Taking pictures, personal portraits. A picture's not a picture. You got to get to know their personality to bring their character out. And I was good for that. And that's what she said about me. I didn't just point a lens in somebody's face and say, smile. Before you even put that lens on their face, you're spending time talking to the person. That's what you're doing. Get to know their personality, something about them. You may not even photograph them the first time you meet them. That's what a true photographer does. I was very good in photographing people and bringing out their character. I had a talent for that. My real interest was like landscapes, seascapes, but it never really turned out that much to be that. I traveled across the country and took a lot of pictures across the states, and I didn't just take enough. But I've always found that when I was around people, I produced some of my better work, my much better work. Yeah. Could have been, should have been, whatever. That's all past. A lot of people go into different professional endeavors or whatever, and they wind up doing something totally different, become a laborer or whatever, blue collar work, like pretty much I did. But, you got the sheepskin and all that stuff, but you wind up doing something totally different. It's not unusual. It's not unusual to change careers in your lifetime. Da 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 da. You do what you got to do to pay the bills. You do what you got to do to pay the rent. When I moved to Seattle, I had to take whatever jobs I could. It was very rough in the beginning. I tried different jobs. It wasn't for me, or I couldn't take it, or a little bit too laborious for me, or too dangerous. I got a few dangerous jobs. And you had to pay the rent. You had to pay the rent. And it was more about survival. Never let's try to start a photography business. What am I going to do? Weddings or some shit like that? That wasn't me. I was more of a photographer who was more on a personal level, and my own creations, not working for somebody to do it, unless, of course, it was National Geographic. That would be a dream job if you were like a really permanent part of their staff and they hired you for a lot of assignments. That would have been, I talked about that a lot of times, that would have been the ideal job for me. Oh, I would have loved it to get to travel and do all these. It's just insane. Insane. But now everything's on a computer, everything is it's changed, a digital world and all that. So, you got to look at that movie. What do you call Bridges with Clint Eastwood? Bridges of Madison County. You can relate with me when you watch that movie for a lot of reasons. Oh, go. Same old broken record. Can't you find something new to talk about? Well, you're listening. You always talk about yourself and what you think you accomplished. What I think I accomplished, I know what I accomplished. I have no big concerns that I didn't accomplish anything in my life. Look at the average moron on YouTube. What have they done with their life? Not many people have done much. Not much at all. And compared to them and being brought up in New York and living in the city practically and going to college in the city, I absorbed a hell of a lot of culture. I met all kinds of people that most of you would never get to meet. Yeah. So as long as I'm happy with what I did in my life, what does it concern you, Gogo Bobo? I'm just curious about that. Why does it concern you? Broken record. Well, you don't have to listen to my show. But I can help you out a little bit here if you want me to. You'd be the first one on here that I decided to remove. Okay, bye. You're number one on my comeback. Okay, simple as that. Why get aggravated? I'm not going to get aggravated from comments. I did a lot more than most people have on here, in different respects, of course, but and aspects too. I mean, it. I'm happy for the most part what I've done with my life. I think I have a few regrets. I didn't do certain other things I would have liked to have done, but everybody has circumstances in their life that changes their direction, and that's a fact. And that's the same thing that happened with me. There's a lot of things I don't regret. There's a few things I do regret. But hey, here I am. I'm 71. I'm still alive, and I'm healthy, and I can't complain about that. Found a wonderful life partner. Why should I complain? There's nothing to complain about. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, go-go, as Gregory said. Okay, hopefully you guys subscribe. I don't know where this is going, but I'm going to get off now. I want to watch a little bit of TV before I head in tonight. But it's been a pleasure, of course. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little ringer bell, notification bell. You know when I do a show. And you know me, I'm kind of like up in the mornings early. If I'm going to do a show, it's usually going to be in the morning. I really kind of want to. It's just I'm all excited. I'm being back live again because I was having trouble with the computer going live on there. That's why I did several shows. I did some uploads and all that. But I think it's going to come down to if it's going to be a daily show, it's going to be in the morning, and that's where I'm more comfortable doing my shows. The temperature in the house is nice and it's quiet, and I could go in the dining room and do a show and feel very comfortable about it. JD says, good show, Frankie. Great to have you back on the tube. Well, we'll see for how long. There's no guarantees in life, and there's no guarantee I'm going to stay on again. Obviously, I proved myself I could stay on for a long time. I proved that, and they ate a lot of crow on that too. But there's too many plates of crow being served. We're not out to serve plates of crow. I mean, that's not what my show is all about, and what's not what I'm all about. I'm just living my life like anybody else. And anything that comes my way adverse or anything else, I will handle it. I'm not going to stress out every day for certain things. I wouldn't be living my life if I did that. Something goes down that I don't like happening, I'll deal with it. I will deal with it like I dealt with anything else in my life. That's just who I am. And believe me, you don't know all my history. I've actually dealt with a lot of things in my life. And I came through with flying colors. Some of it affected me till today in a negative way. Some things made me stronger. But I got around. I've experienced some things in my life. That's what makes you stronger. Simple as that, man. Nothing else to say, so we're going to leave it here. I want to watch the little boob tube. Maybe I'll catch you in the morning. I don't know where you're all living, but when I do a show, it could be as early as, oh, goodness gracious, it could be early as 5 in the morning my time, because I'm up. And it's hard to go back to sleep, and I don't want to disturb my girlfriend. That's why I would vlog early in the morning, because I don't want to disturb her sleep. I figure I'm already up. So it's a good time to do a show and kill time until daylight comes, and then she'll wake up, and there you go. Okay, I do got to go. Thanks for listening. Aloe came in. Thanks for Aloe for coming in on the show. He was very polite. And everybody so far has been polite except Gogo Bobo's sister. But that's just a regular troll. But anyway, I'm not going to be able to see his comments anymore. So that's how I handle things. Don't get stressed about anything on here. And by the way, continue to listen to who the hell you want to listen to on here. Whether you think they're trolls or not, you have the right to listen to anybody you want to listen on here. But sometimes you got to admit it's fun. Sometimes to watch somebody just going downhill by their own doing. Some people who are just totally cocky and arrogant, like Jim and people like that. It's a pleasure. I don't like supporting their show, and I'm certainly not going to send them a donation, but sometimes it's fun being on the other side and just watch these people destroy what's becoming the golden years of their life and throwing it away. No, Gogo didn't hit any spot. He was just being his normal, ignorant, moronic self. There's nothing new about that. Okay, but I do got to go. But thanks you guys for hopping aboard my machine. Probably catch you in the morning. unless I really got nothing to talk about. But there's so much things happening in the country right now. It's hard not to have a topic matter. Um, I had a ton of topic matters while I was off, the time I was off YouTube, which I would have loved to just jumped in there, but I figured I was too lazy. I didn't want to just put my Google account together again. I couldn't even make comments on anybody's show. So anybody thought that I was on there under a different account name making rude comments on their show, they're wrong. These were copycat people because you could go on YouTube and watch YouTube channel, but you got rid of your whole Google account and everything. No, you're not able to post comments on somebody's show, on somebody's live show. You can't do that. If you didn't know that, I couldn't do that. So it was not me. No matter what was said, somebody pretending to be me. You can't do that. And I had a lot of things, and some things were really current that were going on in my life. I would have loved to have talked about, but it was too much of a hassle. I didn't want to bother. I did good this far. How many months I was off? I said, this is great. And it wasn't bothering me as much as I thought it was. It was actually more fun just kind of listening in, being on the other side, being that proverbial fly on the wall, man. And sometimes that's probably the best thing for you. But I think guys like Steven, who's living down in Mindanao, the hello, you lovely people, he's asking for big trouble, man, with a local. He's too ignorant to understand the way he does talk about the Philippines culture, but he says he loves Filipino people, he loves the Philippines, but if you listen to the guy's show, it's completely the opposite, like he's trying to make excuses for staying in the Philippines, that he doesn't like a lot about how this country is structured and certain aspects of the Filipino people and culture. Just listen to his show. It's you see it, he doesn't realize it shows out, but it really does. Then, of course, you got Jim that we've been talking a lot about. Goings on between him and Dexel. It's just so fucking ridiculous, man. Anyway, I'm off, guys. If I don't stop now, I'll be going on all night. Ricky getting attacked big time by Jim, who claims he's coming to the Philippines. He's gonna knock Ricky out with one fist, while one fist is holding a camera. Things are building up again. I'm just gonna be here as a voyeur. That's about it. Ricky, he called you a pedo. Oh my, oh my. You know what happens when somebody calls you a pedo? Not good. Not good. I'd love to see you two guys beat up. I really would. Wow. The guy is really fucked up, I have to say, Ricky. He's pretty fucked up. The guy's been on steroids a little bit too long. His brain has been affected. Big time. Big time. Well, anyway, I wasn't going to spend the rest of my night making a video here, but I did happen to hear Jim's live show. He doesn't do many lives, and Ricky was on the end of an attack by Jim's Asian Adventures. Pretty radical shit, he said, calling Ricky a pedo, and he's going to kick Ricky's ass, and he's a fat slob, and all this other stuff. Man. See, that's where I like to stay in the background a little bit on this stuff here. I listen and learn. I may share things with a few people on here, but this is the kind of stuff where I like to be a fly on the wall, really. Just kind of watch these people kind of go for each other. All the trolls came out of the woodwork on Jim's live show, and Jim was being cocky as usual. There's actually something wrong with that guy. There's no question about it. I don't know if he's on any meds. If he isn't, he needs to take them. But I think some of the meds he's on, all these kind of, ridiculous testosterone and this and that and roids, and I think the guy's out of his mind. I guess he'd have to be to go walk in the street in Cambodia at 3 o'clock in the morning with your underwear on, with no shirt, and vlogging in the street in a country as kind of, backwards as Cambodia. I don't know. It takes all kinds, I guess, man. It just takes all kinds. Oh gosh. Anyway, that was fun to listen to. It's like old times, folks. It's like old times. Old times. I don't know what Ricky's thought about is on this, but yeah, I'd love to see those two meet. That would be interesting. Jim basically ran away from those Filipinos he had a problem with. That's why he left the country right away. He couldn't even go back to that house. He was afraid. In fact, when he was telling the story originally, just to let you know, he said that they struck at him and he fell back and tripped. And Jim is all talk. He's all talk. And he's got the most contorted muscles I've ever seen on any man. At his age, I can't believe that he's not a lot older than he actually is. And maybe those steroids or whatever he's taking is kind of doing something opposite to him. But it's guys like this that get themselves into trouble, man. And he's looking for it big time. You know, he's not going back to the Philippines because she's already got it on tape that, well, he's with another woman and they're married. It's called adultery. Now, she's the spouse. She could report it. Nobody else could. But she is the spouse. And he knows that. He's not that stupid to go, unless he is really stupid. But he's not going to go to Cebu to go beat up Ricky, for one. Because Jim is a coward. There's no, he's taught boxing. He's done this. He's done that. The guy's so full of shit. But then again, there's nothing new about that on YouTube here. I think you guys know that by now. Is my comment section on? I don't think it is. What's the deal on that? Did I take it off? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Now, 49 seconds short was loaded to my channel as unlisted. What the hell is that all about? Okay, guys, I gotta go. But hope you enjoyed Jim's broadcast there. Boy, did he attack Ricky big time. Big time. I've never seen Ricky getting attacked as he did with this guy. Anything gonna happen with that? Nah, ain't gonna be shit happening with that. You know there isn't. But it'd be interesting if there was. Good night, folks.